is the Schmo with the pro, with the head honcho, the president. He's no joker. He's Scott Coker of Bellator here in Long Beach. We got Bellator 286. How we doing?
It's a great day. You're going to have some great weigh-ins here and some big fights tomorrow night. Really exciting time.
We got Pitbull, we got Borix, man. And then we got in the co-main event, we got McKee stepping up a weight class to the lightweight. But Spike Carlisle, he didn't make weight, his opponent. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I heard that he was a little heavy, blaming his hair was wet, something like that.
Just cut it.
That's what I said. Get that razor out, buddy, and shave it all off, boy. Let's do it.
Yeah, obviously it's not the ideal situation for McKee going up there at lightweight, his opponent not making weight though, but if he gets the job done, you talked about having a tournament, a Grand Prix at 155 pounds. Does he have to win this fight in order to have his name in the hat for that tournament?
Well, listen, I think that, when the fighters fight and we think about advancing and where they're going to go, we always like to, let's say, revisit the week after, see how they look, reshuffle the deck. But my anticipation is if AJ wants to fight in this tournament, we'll definitely have a spot for him. And if he wants to stay at 45, it's going to be up to him. I still know that he wants to fight Pitbull at some point to get that trilogy fight. But AJ at 55, it's going to be. I think a lot will depend on what happens on the night. What happens tomorrow night.
Was there any consideration for Benson Henderson getting a title shot? He goes into Dublin, Ireland. It's the main event. He beats Peter Quayle. He gets the job done. Was there any consideration of having him fight for the title shot next?
Well, we had already set up the title shot with Usman Nurmagomedov to fight in November against Patricky. So that fight's set. And then after that, we'll probably go right into our tournament. So, there'll be an opportunity for Benson. He definitely will be invited to the tournament. And, when those fights advance, if you beat the champ or you line up with the champ, you beat him, whoever continues will be the champ. And whoever at the end wins all three fights will be the champ.
What do you think's taken so long to get Fedor matched up to have this one final fight here with the promotion?
Boy, I tell you, there's a lot of complications, as you know, right? The world is kind of a little bit crazier right now. First there was a COVID situation, and the war broke out. To be honest with you, we had a date booked in Red Square for July 11th. I believe that was the date. And we were talking to the government there and the promoter there. It was set, and then I think they invaded Ukraine in March. And then that just threw everything away. But what an iconic location, to have his last fight. And I had this whole thing, kind of planned out about the Emperor returns to his home and finishes his last fight in his home because, he's conquered all over the world, right? If he was a gladiator from 2,000 years ago, he would have conquered the world, right? He's the Genghis Khan of MMA, right? And then come back home and have his final fight there. People could celebrate him in Red Square. It would have just been amazing, but it didn't work out, so we had to reshuffle the deck.
We know you want to match up with Anderson Silva. He's got a boxing match with Jake Paul at the end of the month. We know that Bellator's with Showtime. We know Showtime's got boxing. Jake Paul hinted again that he's been in talks with a major MMA promotion to have his MMA debut. Scott, can you drop the beans right here? Are you talking to Jake Paul?
No, listen, I reached out to both those brothers at one point or another saying, look, if you guys want to get into MMA, give us a call. And you know what? They have a great career in boxing right now. They're doing some good stuff, doing some big numbers. I think that Logan's going to be fighting here sometime before the end of the year. And I think Jake's got the fight with Anderson. And, it's boxing, so let's see what happens. I mean, with Anderson, with Fedor, that was just a situation where we reached out to his management 3 months ago after he came out the Middle Eastern fight. And I said, hey, do you want to talk to Anderson about fighting Fedor in the GOAT versus the GOAT match? Wasn't going to be in Japan. It was going to be somewhere in the United States, maybe in New York or L.A. But, he said, I'm going to choose to stay in boxing and focus on my boxing career. So that's that. That was nothing more than that. So it's, Fedor really wants to fight Ryan Bader. He wants to get a rematch. He wants the title, and he wants revenge. So we'll see. I'm not sure Ryan wants to do that, but we'll see.
If business can work itself out and you're back in business with Eddie Alvarez, will his name be in the hat for the 155-pound tournament?
Yeah, you know what? That's something we would consider, but we haven't even talked to his team or anything. I mean, that's so far-fetched and so far away in my mind that it is a possibility, but it's a remote possibility.
For sure. And Yoel Romero, obviously the guy is just taking back time. I don't know what he's drinking, what it's all about though. But what are your plans for that, man?
I tell you, man, if you were there, I'll tell you, I learned a lot about him as a person at that fight, and he knocks out Melvin's last fight. Melvin's had an amazing career. I love that guy. He always brings it. He's fought so hard for me over the years, and he puts his gloves down, right? And Melvin, I literally looked down. He was literally kissing his gloves, right? Crying. The family comes in. They're crying, and then Melvin's son was crying, and Yoel Romero gets on his knees, and crawls over to the son so he can see eye to eye. And said, hey, your father's going to be okay. I'm sorry, this is just business. You know, like, he's apologizing to his son. He's crying, they're crying. I about lost it because it was such a, like, you know, embedded in my mind that, you know, here's a guy that's so caring. He didn't want Melvin's son to be upset. He got on his knees and walked over. I'm sure it's on the film. Everybody should go check that out because that was a special moment.
Certainly was. Can we get a final message for all the Scott Coker fans out there worldwide?
Listen, we got some great fights coming up. Dublin was the beginning of a long stretch of great fights. This is number 2. We got Chicago coming up. Then December 9th, we got the semifinals of the Bantamweight tournament. Sabatello and Rafian Stotts fighting. Magomedov, Patrick Mix. And then we have possibly something we're going to do before the end of the year. Not sure, but we're on a big roll right now. Just tune in to Showtime and check out these fights.
He's the pro. I'm the Schmo here in Long Beach, or shall we call it Strong Beach?
Strong Beach is fine. You know, I'll tell you, this is a very special building. You know, a lot of people forgot, but there's about a 40-year period where there was a tournament called the Ed Parker Nationals here, and Bruce Lee was discovered here in Long Beach in '64. He came to do the demonstration for the Green Hornet. He did a demonstration of the Green Hornet producer song, but I actually competed here in 1977 as a kid, and then my last tournament fight was here in like '84. So anybody that was competing in karate on the West Coast was coming to this tournament to fight. So I haven't been in this building since '84, but there's a 40-year history of martial arts fighting at the highest level. Chuck Norris competed here, Benny Urquidez competed here. It's like the list goes on and on and on. So, you know, this is the mecca for a lot of great fights in the past.
Nostalgia at its finest. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, buddy.
We're out.